As usual, I'm in a good mood when I'm on Gambakwe Media.
Fantastic. I'm also very happy to have you here, Mr. Jonasi. And as you know, many people have been anticipating this interview. We have more than 10,000 people who saw the fact that you're going to be here today. And I hope that you'll be able to give people what they deserve, which is perfect quality and, as usual, your full opinions and what you think about the current topic here, which is the 2021 national budget, which was presented by Mthuli Ncube, Minister of Finance, on the 26th of November. Did you manage to watch that presentation? I saw the sound was quite bad. Did you watch it at that time?
Yeah, no, I watched it, and because remember, the presentation of a national budget, our lives will be, it's a life-changing process. So I think every Zimbabwean must witness such occasions.
Okay, so now I think let's go straight into the budget. I want us to wrap this up within 30 minutes so that everyone can go to sleep as this is a working day. What are the key takeaways from that budget?
I think first I would want to say a budget is more of a cake that we can prepare or bake in the house, and this cake depends with the quality of the stove, depends with the amount of flour or the ingredients. I mean, the ingredients determine the size of the cake and the quality, the taste of the cake. So the Minister of Finance to me is a Zimbabwean who is tasked to share a cake that is already baked. Now, if there's 5 family members, it's him now to decide what piece to give the father, the mother, the firstborn, the toddler. So I think finance minister's duty was to distribute the cake. But there are so many factors before the preparation of the cake that affect the cake. So people expect a budget to solve the problems of unemployment, the budget to solve the problem of lack of medication in health facilities, the salaries of civil servants, and I mean, beside as I say, the budget is a product of the economy. If our economy is in bad shape, the cake will be tasteless, the cake will be small. We will scramble for the cake. So I think considering the economic situation in Zimbabwe, the budget is too small, and we are going to scramble for the cake. It's a matter of who got a little bit bigger. Yeah, I think I was impressed by the budget allocation in terms of the I mean secondary and the primary okay, basic education rather. They got, I think, plus or minus 55 billion. And I was also impressed by the budget allocation to the Ministry of Health because it got about 54 billion. Defense, I think about 23 billion. Home affairs, critical, it got about almost 23 billion. But I think on budget allocation, I was so disappointed on okay. I think women got about 2.2 billion, and the youth they got about almost 3.4 billion. Almost 65% of Zimbabwean population is the young people who are 35 years and below. And we know that when we talk about unemployment, we are actually referring to young people. The youth are the most affected, who are growing older without holding a payslip. So I was expecting more budget on the youth because they are the victims of the economy right now. And I was also disappointed by ICT. I think it's almost one point something billion. Uh, Economies across the world now are into innovation and technology, but I think this budget it confirms our position that we are a traditional economy. We are always saying we are agro-based, we are we mining, and the mining, disappointingly, it got to probably 1 point something billion. But it's like a key driver in our economy. I think the budget is too traditional. Zimbabwe is not yet ready to be in the innovative and technological space. Yeah, so generally, I think tourism got about 1 point something billion, but we know that our tourism is a major factor. Maybe the minister thought we are in lockdown period. Probably the tourists will never be in numbers. I don't know, and I think I'm still trying to see the correlation between this budget and the National Development Strategy 1, which is kickstarting January next year to December, the first year, the foundation, which is 2021. So I'm still thinking probably the areas which got low budget allocation, probably the 2022 budget is going to compensate, because I think the budget must be always aligned to the National Development Strategy 1 and the Vision 2030. There must be a good relationship there.
Okay, so I think you've given a good summary, and I want us to go into a bit more detail. And I want us to start with the projections. So yeah. I'll give you the projections, then you probably give me your opinions on that. GDP is going to be up 7.4%, coming from minus 4.1%. Inflation will be down to 16% by December, coming off from 800 and something percent. Import cover is going to be up to 2 times, coming up from 1. And debt is going to move down to 65% from 79%. What do you think? Do you think these projections make sense?
I want to believe that maybe they can make sense, because the current stabilization currently, and the prices of basic commodities, they are no longer skyrocketing, and there's a bit of stability currently. So I think the projections can be almost met. Because also considering the COVID era, if the second round doesn't hit us hard, I think they are doing their best under extreme and adverse economic conditions.
Okay, then let's go to the strategy. The main strategy on this budget is price stability. And he says that he's going to focus on exchange rate stability, financial sector stability, and money supply management. Do you think the prices of goods in Zimbabwe can be stabilized?
Yeah, because currently we are experiencing a stabilization in both the prices and the currency rate. But my worry is that the minister is working on more of an academic budget. Why do I say this? The biggest challenges to our economy, without denying corruption, the health sector is one of the biggest beneficiaries in terms of budget allocation. But I want to assure you that my own projection is that come March 2021, there won't be a medication in hospitals. Why? Because the nurses and doctors and the hospital administrators, they are in the habit of stealing. Let me tell you my own experience in 2018. 2018 or 2017, I was in Chegutu. I went to the public hospital in Chegutu, government hospital, and they prescribed to me medication to go to a pharmacy, a private pharmacy, to buy in the city center, in the town center of Chegutu. they would prescribe even the farmers. Then I was curious. I went to sit on the bench, like I'm also in the queue to still get a prescription. And then in front of me, there were 6 more people. All those 6 people, they were getting the same prescription of drugs and a pharmacy name. And then I realized that there were more than 4 pharmacies in Chegutu at that time. But this pharmacy was they take the medication from the government hospital and then they put it there, and that's corruption. And there was no even painkiller in the hospital. What is happening in our health system? There is now systematic and endemic corruption. So these budgets are the Minister of Health, the finance minister is releasing money, but there is no monitoring mechanism to see and accountability to this money. This money is going in the hands of senior bosses and ministers. This money, probably half of these budgets or 90% are not going to be used or implemented in what they must be. So a budget without monitoring, without accountability, to me, it's a waste of time.
Okay, so I'm hearing what you're saying, and I think that's an important point, the issue of corruption. And this obviously goes back to whether you're going to achieve the targets or not. But let us go to the next point, which I want to make here, which is the point on allocations. You've already mentioned the allocations, but I want to give you the percentages. So what Mthuli Ncube has done is he has multiplied last year's budget by between 5 times and 10 times. So every number that you are looking at has been multiplied either by 5 or by 10. For example, the president's office, their money was increased to about 10 billion, I think, from about 2 billion. So they multiply that by 10, by 5. And then if you look at Minister of Health, they multiply the money by 10, and so on. So some ministries got more than others. A ministry like the Agriculture Ministry, do you think they deserve the amount they got? The president's office, do you think they deserve the amount they got?
Okay, let me touch on the president's office. In some countries the world over, the president's office, normally the budget is not published. Why? Because we know that the president's office is let me touch on this, Minister of State Security. They are involved in dealing with the country's security, and obviously there are some eventualities which comes, and obviously any budget must recognize the security of the country first, because it's safety first. They always say, common say, safety first before anything else. So although I'm shocked that the budget is being published, but I want to guess that maybe there is another budget somewhere, because the state security is very critical. It's a critical, essential ministry. But if they published the budget, it's fine. And I want to say I'm very disappointed with the budget allocation in terms of energy, because it must be, if I'm not mistaken, it must be 1 point something billion. Energy is a critical department. It's a critical. If we are serious about building economy, energy is a very critical. At least if energy was supposed to play around 10-15 billion, 1 billion to me it's a joke, because Zimbabwe we are experiencing a lot of load sheddings and stuff. Power is very important. I think the Minister
I want us to move very fast. I want us to move very fast, because this topic is above the level of many people, especially MDC supporters. They think they know economics, but they don't. If you look at the comments, most people think that if you're in the MDC, then you understand economics, which is not true. In fact, I've sat with Mr. Jonas, and I know that he knows more economics and his policy is probably better than Chamisa's policy. You can challenge me on that, but I've looked at BT, and when he analyzes the budget, he only says the same thing. He never goes a bit deeper into what is going on. So I want people to be exposed to more, not to the usual. And I think what you're doing now is you're giving people more. So let's go to the rebates that were given by Mthuli Ncube, the fertilizer industry, the dairy industry, the safari operators, shoe manufacturers, cross-border luxury coaches, and rates. Do you think he covered everyone that needs to be covered to improve productivity?
Yeah, no, on rebates, I think he did very well. Why I'm saying so? Because the rebates are pro poor. I mean, obviously, the cross borders and everything, the rebates are good because people must know one thing: the finance minister, we normally don't question him directly when they do the budget and they do budget consultations. Each department is presenting their presentations. There's some, so we don't know the reasons, but we are just analyzing from our own general point of view. I think the rebates are good because, as I said, when the Minister of Finance is tasked to distribute the cake. That is the cake that is backed by the Zimbabwean political environment, Zimbabwean sanctions, corruption. There are so many factors which are affecting the budget, and the minister has done well because I think he is so brave to be a finance minister in the economic situation of Zimbabwe that our so-called learned economists are saying the economy has collapsed. And I'm surprised that critical Zimbabweans are analyzing the finance minister's budget, but when their general assessment is that the Zimbabwean economy has since collapsed so many years ago. And then we should give credit to the minister then if he can come up with a budget in an economy which is so-called collapsed. Our economy is so much in intensive unity. And I know Zimbabweans, they're extremists. We either condemn something in totality or we approve something in totality. It's high time we need to be liberal and to be moderate so that we bring the best of each other as a nation. That's what we need. The finance minister is a Zimbabwean who probably might be watching this discussion. Are we going to condemn him? Are we going to take everything away from him? And on paper, our finance minister might probably be the most qualified finance minister probably in Africa. But that being said, I'm not here to praise him, but I'm here to say every Zimbabwean is very important and we should appreciate and build him.
Okay, let's now go to salaries. This is what affects many Zimbabweans. The payee tax-free threshold has been increased to $10,000 and the bonus tax-free threshold to $25,000. Is this enough?
The salary on this budget allocation, my personal view is that the salaries was not done a critical allocation because you need to, when workers are we don't want them to be paid handsomely if we are realistic with in reference to our economy, but we have got demonstrations and strike after strike in our country, considering, I mean, public service in terms of like teachers and nurses. I think there was supposed to be a certain, since the National Development Strategy 1 is saying it's focusing on pushing our economy into upper middle income. I think this projection, this allocation is not trusting hope in the public service.
Okay, so that amount is not enough They should have pushed it even higher so that people don't get taxed.
I can put it on bottom, medium, and high. I put it on bottom.
Okay. Now let's go to the last portion, which I wanted us to discuss, which is what was missing in this budget. So I want to take you back to the strategy, which is price stability.
Yeah.
And we know that in Zimbabwe, one of the biggest problems is the shortage of cash. There is no cash in the ATM. If I want right now where I'm sitting, I can walk out and I'll go and withdraw. My limit now is at 5,000 rands.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which is maybe approximately, we can say $300. Why are we failing to have a plan from a budget like this one to allow banks to be able to give people money in the ATMs?
I wanted to say we don't have a shortage of cash in Zimbabwe. If there's any shortage of cash, it's a symptom of lack of productivity in our economy. Because if you are not producing, it means then everyone, most of the critical needs, basic commodities whatsoever, we are actually a warehouse country. We are a warehouse of South Africa, a warehouse of Japan, a warehouse of Zambia, a warehouse of European goods and Botswana. In the absence of productivity, the economy bleeds because our cash, as we are saying, our cash is not even needed in neighboring countries or other countries. It's just a token to buy a US dollar. So a bond is, you just get a bond in order to buy a US dollar. And remember, the person who owns a US dollar in Zimbabwe can even sell you at any rate they want. So sometimes not even the official rate. So our money doesn't have a power in terms of buying a US dollar. So that makes our money short, to be in short supply, because technically we are a US dollar economy in terms of transactions. But even the budget, I'm even shocked that the budget is done in bond notes, when technically so if this budget, let's say for argument's sake, the whole budget is 500 million rands, it still needs that 500 million rands must still go to in both informal and formal markets to buy the US dollar. Then the US dollar, the amount of US dollar that we are resulted in, become our final budget. And so I would rather say this budget is a draft budget. The final budget is when it's converted, not just the simple arithmetic, direct conversion to US dollar using the formal market rate, but both formal and informal. Because if the ministry is allocated this money, sometimes they are even forced some services to maybe to get the US dollar probably at a higher rate, because we don't know. This is the budget to use for 12 months. So we don't know when they buy a US dollar mid-year or end of the year, the rate could be very lower. So I mean, the shortage of cash in Zimbabwe, it's a symptom of the lack of productivity. We are not producing. Most of the things in Zimbabwe we import. Number one. Number two, what really improves economy? I'm talking in terms of education. The amount of the amount of know-how within a nation determines how prosperous our country can be. What do I mean? What I mean is, for example, we talk about agriculture all the time. We should start from the basic, from a farmer to processing. We should have universities which are only specializing in agriculture, so that all the critical skills and services within the sector are met if we go to the to talk about mining, do we have all the critical skills in terms of mining itself, processing? When if so much services which are needed to boost our economy, our education must be tailor-made to produce such skills, so that so many things are done within our country. That is the only way to increase productivity. But in our country, we are producing so many teachers. Do we really need teachers for our economy? Many teachers are not working in Zimbabwe. At some point, they froze, even not taking any more teachers in the public service. We are producing so many doctors, so many, and then we don't pay them. At the end of the day, these doctors we are producing people who are going to other countries. And the other reason why we don't have we've got a high unemployment rate, it's because so many people, graduates, are produced who are not needed by the economy. So we are producing graduates who are irrelevant to our economy. We have got, yes. So we need to align our economy. We need to know how to take stock of what skills are needed with our economy, and then we align our education, our polytechnics and universities to complement the economy.
Okay, I want to still come back to the point you're making of productivity.
Yeah,
it's important, like you say, that our economy should be productive, but similarly, there should be order in the economy.
Yeah.
Currently, there is no order. If someone can just take money and sell it, there's no incentive to produce. Is that not part of the problem, that we don't have a proper monetary system? We don't have a medium of exchange. We've got a currency now. Why can't they put that currency in the ATM so that I have my money in my pocket and there's no middleman who is telling me about the rate? Except for the central bank, everyone else should not be telling me about the rate. Is this not what is destroying productivity? Because we see people driving Rolls Royce because they manage to buy US dollar at a low rate and sell it at a high rate. Is that not where our problem lies?
Okay. Every economy is boosted by productivity. That's a fact. What you are mentioning about Rolls Royce and someone buying a US dollar on a cheaper rate, that is corruption. Remember, in our country, ZANU-PF for 40 years, it has been playing only politics. So when you are politically closer or well aligned, you get access to everything. So we should shift from a political economy to a developmental economy. Money has been spent, huge amount of money, for power retention or to deal with the power threats. So as a ruling party, as a government, we should shift from playing politics and move to development. And then, for example, red tape is a lot also. There's a lot of red tape in our economy. We should shift to technology. A Zimbabwean must register a company in Zimbabwe while listed in South Africa, while listed in UK. There are so many Zimbabweans who want to register companies in Zimbabwe, and they must do it online. Secondly, they must also assistance in young people who want to start companies in terms of incentives, and even people want to invest in Zimbabwe. The information must be public. We must have probably even the finance ministry. There must be another ministry just focusing on investment, so that they've got teams, they go other countries, they learn a lot, they do this. Investment in Zimbabwe, foreign direct investment is very critical. But the finance minister now his hands are full. We really need investments, and we need to to relax our policies. And we need that, and we should stop playing politics. The issue of slogans is too much.
Okay. So I hear you, Mr. Jonasi, but I think we need a solid measure of when we can say our economy is starting to improve. You can see that Mthuli Ncube ended by saying that people are getting more confidence in what he's doing. You know, I used to go to Zimbabwe from here, and I would transfer my money into Zimbabwe. When I get to Zimbabwe, then I would withdraw it, or I would take my card from here, and then I'll go to CBZ and withdraw the money at Masvingo so that I can use in Zimbabwe. So at the moment, if I cannot withdraw money in my bank, it totally kills it for me as a tourist, as someone who wants to invest in Zimbabwe, as someone who doesn't like doing illegal things. It totally destroys the experience for me. So the day when I see cash in the ATM, when I go to Zimbabwe again, and I can withdraw my cash and I go and buy in the shop, and I don't have to explain myself in EcoCash, Telecash, US dollar, rand prices. I think that lack of structure needs to be addressed, and Mthuli Ncube has not done that. He has not addressed the economy in Zimbabwe is not yet a formal economy. And this is a big thing because people need to see change on the ground. If they don't see change on the ground, everything you are saying is academic.
Okay. When we talk about monetary policy and getting cash, I think I think we are no longer on video. I think we're only on audio.
I can see you very well. We can see you fine.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
The lack of cash in our ATMs, it's caused by so many factors. For example, remember our currency changes its value sometimes in a matter of minutes. So what we are saying is that even the ATM itself can be confused, because if you have got 100, let's say 100 bond in your ATM and you want to take 50 bond, probably by the time you beat the queue, you want to withdraw your money, probably that money is now worth probably 10 bond. So I mean, the unpredictability in terms of our current rate is caused by an economy out of control. How do you stabilize economy? Number one, it's productivity, and then number two, the productivity would make our currency to be to gain confidence regionally and internationally. Right now we have got a currency which is only wanted in Zimbabwe. Remember, the ATM has got also MasterCards. There are some people coming from London who are holding MasterCards or international cards. How do they also transact? So we at the moment we can't put we won't have cash in the ATMs until the currency stabilizes. And secondly, we need productivity. We need it, and there are so many things. Even in terms of sanctions must be fought hard, not only by rhetoric, but if also our government, our country has been sanctioned because of certain things which are listed down, our government must also be in good faith and must also fix other things, because we also need, Zimbabwe is not an island. Zimbabwe is under the globe, is within the global village. So let's not also, since we come from the war of liberation, we don't need the guerrilla policy making. We also need to be humble and listen to our families, listen to fellow citizens, and listen to other global citizens, because our economy must be seriously globalized.
Okay, right. Let's wrap this up. Overall, what do you think about this budget? Is it realistic? Is it a good budget? Do you see this as the beginning of improvement of the Zimbabwean economy?
I give the budget a thumbs up. Why? Because I said this budget is a cake which has been baked by Zimbabweans, and the cake is affected by the availability of flour, availability of eggs, and whatsoever. Mthuli Ncube is tasked by us Zimbabweans to distribute the cake. I mean, so the economy of Zimbabwe it's in tatters. It's a public secret. Now, so we can't expect Mthuli Ncube to just solve every economic challenges, because we know that our economic challenge is hugely affected by our politics. I want to believe that our finance minister is not a politician, but he is a technocrat who is now, unfortunately, in running his ministry, he is forced to work along to align his skills and ministry with the ZANU-PF manifesto. Already is being politicized. What has gone wrong in Zimbabwe is the politics, because the politics is controlling religion, is controlling economy, it's controlling everything, even families. Our politics is totally wrong. Our politics is in shambles, because those in power, every day they discuss how not to lose power. If they do some developments, yes, we praise them, but these developments are done so that they come back and say, vote for us. You saw what we do, what we did.
Okay, I want to hold you there, Mr. Jonas. I don't think it's only the people in power in Zimbabwe who are a problem.
Yeah,
I think our opposition is also a problem.
Yeah,
and I'm saying this with confidence. I think the MDC Alliance, the MDCT, they are causing chaos even more than ZANU-PF. If you look at a typical MDC Alliance supporter or an MDCT supporter, they are reactionary. If you look at the policies right now, everything that Mthuli Ncube has announced, I do not think we have had anything before the budget coming from the opposition to say, this is what we want. So what they do is, Mthuli Ncube announces the budget, and then they go out and criticize what he has announced. They don't have their own position, which they can then say, why did Mthuli Ncube do this and not that? And I think that politics of polarization that you always talk about is a very big problem. We don't have politicians with interest of the people in Zimbabwe. They just want to use this economy, the ones that are in opposition, to get into power, and the ones that are in power, they want to keep the power. And you always say this. How do we solve this issue?
I agree with you 100%. That when I say the politics is wrong, I mean across the sector. But I want to quote someone who wrote on a WhatsApp group that I'm a member, I'm part of. He said, I mean, America created MDC, and MDC has been existing for 20 years. And in that way, America has made ZANU-PF to fight MDC for 20 years and not develop the economy or improve the lives of Zimbabweans. So in other words, by implication, ZANU-PF now has been driven by America to spend time fighting MDC. And in this, they say when two elephants are fighting, it's the grass that suffers. So we are witnessing a fight, a blood fight of ZANU-PF and MDC, and the ordinary people are the grass. So what is needed now is ZANU-PF. At least they are trying now to do some development. I was impressed when I saw the Parliament of Zimbabwe in Mount Upton, Maroranyika Dam. ED is trying, and then MDC must now go back to US, remove the colonial jacket, and come back home as a Zimbabwean party. I think it's not a problem for even opposition political parties in Zimbabwe. Probably we give pressure to the government of Zimbabwe to create a democracy fund. We need a democracy fund and create some conditions that a political party which meets these conditions probably gets how much in funding. If we don't fund our political party within the country, our opposition political parties are tempted also to go outside the country, and they get captured and they don't serve national interest. I think the issue of funding is very critical. MDC is refusing that sanctions have got an effect on our economy, because you speak what your funder says. I think at some point we need a democracy fund, so that we don't fund every party, Tom and Jerry, but a party must meet some requirements, and then there is money is given according to the percentage or the ratio of qualification to the expectations on the funding financing module. We seriously need that. As long as political parties in Africa are funded by the West, national interest, national security will be in the dustbin.
Okay, I think this is a topic for another day. I want us to develop that topic. What is causing our opposition to be so ineffective? I think we need to go there, and I don't think today we have enough time. So let's wrap this up. Is there anything else you want to say before we close?
Yeah, I want to appeal to fellow Zimbabweans and say, let's love one another. If the national team of Zimbabwe, soccer team is playing somewhere, or cricket team, and they lose dismally, let's encourage them. Let's comment positively. They are representing the whole Zimbabwe. When Mthuli Ncube is doing a budget, he is our national finance team captain. We need to clap hands for him and progressively pick up where we think he can improve next time. A minister, a president, a mayor, a councillor, a senator, a member of parliament, an office bearer in Zimbabwe is a member of the national or provincial or district or ward team. This is our representative. If ED has got one leg, he is our president. No matter how you like him or you hate him, ED is the face of Zimbabwe. Mthuli Ncube is the face of Zimbabwe, finance face of Zimbabwe. Tendai Biti is the shadow minister of finance. He is not yet in power in the ministry. One day he's going to be our finance minister. When he's there, we need to support him. Let's love one another. Let's support each other. Let's be progressive. Let's stop hate. Let's stop condemning. Everyone is acquitted or death sentence. We don't have courts like that. There are also courts that can give you 6 months in prison, that can suspend the sentence. But in Zimbabwe, you are either you're not guilty in the court of public opinion. You are not guilty or death sentence.
Okay, Mr. Tinashe Jonas, President of Ideal Zimbabwe. There is a lot of comments for you. I think you should go and check them out. Most of the people who are commenting here, they do not understand that economics must be simple. Everyone must be able to understand what is going on if the economy is doing well. If a budget is presented, even a grandmother in the rural areas should understand what has been presented. There are some people who think that if there's a budget, only Tendai Biti or an economist or Magaisa should comment on that budget. I do not think so. Those guys, they don't know more than anyone else. They are lawyers. If you sit down with Tendai Biti for an hour, he's going to show you that he's a lawyer. Magaisa is going to show you that he's a lawyer. They are not economists. And everyone has got a right to comment on a budget. Yeah. So I don't agree with people here who are saying bring economists. I won't bring economists because most of them, they can't even produce a budget like what Mthuli Ncube has done. If we really had proper economists, we're going to be having, before the budget, proper documents that says this is what our Minister of Finance should do. And currently we don't have that. Yeah.
Yes.
So I'm happy with the discussion that we've had, but obviously we're going to be talking to more people. If you are watching this and you want to talk and you think you've got better ideas, better opinions than what Mr. Jonas has done, you can call me on my number. You've got the number, it's on the website, gambakwe.com. WhatsApp me, and let's talk about our country. Everyone has the right to talk about our country. I feel very unhappy when some people think that they have got the right to talk or no one else has the right to talk. That is a recipe for disaster, because our country will never be right until we can allow each other to speak. And we say, okay, Jonas has spoken, this is where he didn't agree with me, and this is what I think. I think that is where we need to go. Right, I appreciate everyone who's watching. I know it's a weekday. Mr. Jonas, can I let you go now, and can I let our audience go?
Thank you so much, Mr. Gambakwe, for giving me the platform to express my opinions. People who are watching must know that these are my personal opinions. If to them we differ, yes, if we are different people, we must have different opinions. That's a normal. It's an old normal. It's not a new normal. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Jonas, and thank you to everyone who's watching on YouTube and Facebook. Please like, comment, and share, and let us get this message to as many people as possible. Good night, and thank you very much.